So as a part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering, Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering, what we are going to do is first we are going to understand how we can use Apache Airflow, to Apache Airflow to perform workflow and scheduling. So using Apache Airflow to perform workflow, defining workflow, scheduling, define workflow and workflow for scheduling workflow for Snowflake jobs, Snowpark jobs, and DBT for Snowflake jobs. So using Apache Airflow, we can define workflow, we can schedule workflow of Snowflake jobs, Snowpark jobs, and DBT for Snowflake jobs. Okay, so we are going to learn how to define workflow. Workflow means a sequence of jobs. Next one, we can schedule workflow. When to execute that workflow? Is it every day in the morning, afternoon, or evening, or particular day of the week, particular day of the month, or particular quarterly, half yearly, so yearly, or particular day of year? So we are going to learn how to schedule. So these things we are going to learn as a part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering. Okay. So these are 10 chapters we are going to cover as a part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering. First, we are going to understand what is Apache Airflow. Then key features of Apache Airflow. Common use cases of Apache Airflow. When Apache Airflow was invented, then we are going to see very, very important one, Apache Airflow architecture. There we are going to learn what are different components presented in Apache Airflow. And once we complete this one, from 6th to 10th, complete the practicals. We are going to start with installing Apache Airflow on Windows operating system. And then we are going to understand what are different operators available. Apache Airflow for any technology team. It is not only for Snowflake. It is not only for AWS. It is not only for Azure. It is not only for GCP. It is not only for Python, Java, Scala, .NET. Using Apache Airflow, you can define workflow, schedule workflow for any technology. Here, as part of operators, we are going to understand what are different operators available. What are operators for Snowflake? What are operators available for Snowpark? What are operators available for DBT for Snowflake? Okay, then we are going to see one first example by developing a DAG to define workflow for Python job. How to call a Python job, how to run a Python job. And we are going to schedule that first example. After that, we are going to understand how to define workflow, how to schedule workflow of schedule for Snowflake jobs using Apache Airflow. What are required? How we can configure in Apache web user interface. How we can create integration to call Snowflake jobs. Then we are going to see Apache Airflow examples for Snowflake data engineering jobs. We are going to see how to call Snowflake jobs. Okay, clear, right? 10th chapter, we are going to learn different examples to schedule, to define workflow, to schedule workflow for Snowflake data engineering jobs. So this is our entire 10 chapters we are going to learn as part of our Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering. Yeah, let's continue to. As part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering, in this session, we are going to understand Apache Airflow introduction. Apache Airflow introduction, we are going to start understanding what is Apache Airflow, what are key features of Apache Airflow, why industry choosing Apache Airflow for workflow orchestration. Then we are going to see what are use cases we are going to implement using Apache Airflow. Then we are going to see Apache Airflow history. Okay. Yeah. First, let's start understanding what is Apache Airflow. So first point, Apache Airflow is a open source and free. You no need to pay single rupee for downloading, installing, using Apache Airflow. It is completely free. In Apache Airflow, there is a concept called DAG. DAG full form is Directed Acyclic Graph. So using this DAGs, we can define workflow for any technology. Workflow means sequence of jobs. Let's say I have 10 jobs. It may be Java jobs, it may be Python jobs, it may be Scala jobs, it may be .NET jobs, it may be AWS jobs, it may be Azure jobs, it may be GCP jobs, it may be any technology job. We can create a DAG for defining workflow for any technology. It is not meant for particular technology. It is for any technology. You can define workflow. Workflow means a sequence of jobs. Once you define workflow, you can also define scheduling for that workflow. When to execute that workflow using DAG definition. This DAG definition we can write using Python coding tool, Python programming technique. But here you need minimum knowledge of Python concepts, like at least scripting oriented knowledge, like control statements, data types. Simple Python knowledge doesn't require procedure oriented knowledge, doesn't require modular oriented, doesn't require object oriented, that kind of depth knowledge. You need a scripting knowledge to define DAGs in Apache Airflow. So while discussing DAG implementation, you can easily understand, even though if you do not have Python knowledge. Okay. So we are going to follow structure of Apache Airflow for defining workflow, scheduling workflow. Once you develop that Python code, where we are going to deploy is, we are going to deploy in Apache Airflow web user interface. Apache Airflow is a web user application. It is a web user application. It will provide web user interface. There you can upload your DAGs, you can run your DAGs, you can monitor your DAGs, you can troubleshoot your DAGs. So you can do all the activities in Apache Airflow web user interface. It is a graphical user interface too. Simply I can say Apache Airflow is a web application. It can run in Tomcat. There we are going to deploy our DAGs. A DAG is a workflow which contains sequence of jobs. A DAG also containing scheduling of that workflow. Okay. So it is a Python based framework. DAG we can implement using Python programming language. We use scripting techniques. It doesn't require procedure oriented knowledge, object oriented knowledge, modular oriented knowledge. You need a scripting oriented knowledge to implement DAGs. Now let's understand key features and concepts of Apache Airflow. Why industry choosing Apache Airflow? What are its key features? First key feature is workflow as a code team. Workflow as a code. What is the meaning of workflow as a code is, if you observe different technologies for orchestration, they may provide drag and drop, and they may uh, internally generate a code, they may not expose. But here, this workflow, we are going to implement using programming language called Python. That's why we are calling workflow as a code. The advantage of this workflow as a code is lot of customization. Lot of customizations. If it is a programming language, you can do whatever you want, like parameter passing, controlling flow, everything possible with the programmatic approach. Okay. Second advantage is, in Apache Airflow, we have a concept called DAG. DAG stands for Directed Acyclic Graph. Using DAG, we can define a workflow, sequence of job. Means which job executes first, which job executes next. Do you want to pass output of first job to second job to third job to fourth job, or do you want to pass any parameters to a job? Everything we can implement using DAG definition. DAG definition. Okay. It is a logical sequence of operations too. Next important one is web-based UI. Once you develop DAG, we can deploy that one in Apache Airflow. It will provide web-based user interface. You can open web UI of your Apache Airflow. You can run this DAG. You can monitor the DAG. You can troubleshoot the DAG. You can restart the DAG. We can do all the activities using web user interface. It provides rich user interface, helps to visualize pipeline dependencies, track the programs, manage logs, troubleshoot issues. Next, very, very important one is operator. Operator. So let's say I am writing DAG definition. In this DAG, I want to call Python program. I want to call Python program. Then we have a separate operator for Python programming language. I want to call Java job. We have a separate operators. I want to call AWS data engineering. We have AWS DAGs. I want to call Azure. We have Azure DAGs. I want to call GCP. We have GCP operators. I want to call .NET program. We have operators. I want to call Scala programs. We have separate operators. For every technology, we have different operators. We have different operators. Some operators comes by default by installing Apache Airflow, like Python operator, Bash operator. Bash operator can be used to run Linux commands. Okay. So some operators come by default with by installing Apache Airflow. Some operators we have to install manually. So using Python commands, we are going to install different operators based on our requirement. For our requirement, we are going to call Snowflake jobs. We are going to call Snowpark jobs. We are going to call DBT jobs. So we are going to install corresponding operators in Apache Airflow if it is not presented. Next one thing. The main advantage is, let's say I want to call Snowflake jobs. So Apache Airflow is a web UI. So first we need an integration between Apache Airflow and Snowflake. Then only we can call corresponding jobs, right? So it will provide, Apache Airflow provides integration for different technologies too. Apache Airflow provides integration for different technologies: Snowflake integration, AWS integration, GCP integration, Azure integration with the different plugins. If plugin is not available, we have to install corresponding plugin so that we will get a option to integrate different technologies. Sorry, different technologies. Next important one, scheduling. Next important one is scheduling. So Apache Airflow is not new. Like uh, we may know the concepts in Linux. We have a cron jobs. Cron jobs can be used to schedule shell script jobs. Yes, sir. Similar way, we have a cron job kind of implementation in in Apache Airflow to schedule workflow. Scheduling means when to execute your workflow. Let's say we defined workflow for 10 Snowflake jobs. When to execute that 10 jobs, workflow, sequence of that jobs. Do you want to execute early in the morning, 6 a.m. or night 11:59 a.m., 11:59 p.m., or particular day, or Wednesday or Thursday like that, or particular week of month, or particular day in a month, or particular quarter, or particular half year, or year end, we can schedule using Apache Airflow for workflow team. Next advantage is scalability and flexibility. Scalability and flexibility. The advantage of Apache Airflow is we can create a cluster, can run any number of workflows. You can create a cluster of Apache Airflow. You can create a cluster of Apache Airflow to run any number of jobs parallelly. It can handle large scale workloads. Okay, so all of you understand key features of Apache Airflow. Now let's understand common use cases of Apache Airflow or where we can use Airflow. First one, data engineering activities, especially in data engineering activities like Apache Airflow data engineering jobs workflow definition or AWS data engineering jobs workflow definition or Azure data engineering jobs workflow definition or GCP data engineering jobs workflow definition, especially industry go with Apache Airflow. Second use case is machine learning. Machine learning, whatever models they develop, they are going to define sequence of jobs by using Apache Airflow. Then they are going to schedule that sequence using Apache Airflow. Machine learning models, workflow definition, scheduling workflow, industry uses Apache Airflow. Next one, infrastructure management. Using DevOps. Let's say Terraform scripts. Terraform scripts are created for infrastructure management. To schedule that Terraform scripts, to define workflow for the Terraform scripts, or DevOps activities, industry go with Apache Airflow. Other areas, programming languages too. May developed using Python, Java, .NET, etc. Those applications, workflow definition, scheduling workflow, industry go with Apache Airflow. Apache Airflow is completely free. You no need to pay single rupee. You can download, install, use Apache Airflow. Okay. Next, let's understand Apache Airflow history. Apache Airflow history. First one, initially Apache Airflow was developed by Airbnb in 2014 to manage their own projects, their own projects workflows. This Airflow was developed by Airbnb in 2014 for their own projects orchestration, but later they want to give this project to everyone. So, to make everyone, they donated this project to Apache. Apache maintains all open source free projects. Apache never charge a single rupee of their projects. So Airbnb donated this project to Apache Software Foundation. Now Airflow is a product of Apache Foundation, Apache Software Foundation. Okay, clear, right? Yeah, let's start it. As part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering, in this session, we are going to see Apache Airflow installation on Windows operating system. So in this, what we are going to do, first we are going to install Docker in Windows operating system. Then we are going to install Docker with Linux operating system image. In that, we are going to get that image with Apache Airflow software. Okay. So once we set up this one, then we are going to access this Airflow using web user interface. For that, we are going to configure Airflow. We are going to configure Airflow. We are going to access that Airflow. Okay. So once this created, we are going to execute some Docker commands to start image, to stop image, to restart image, to install any softwares in that image. We are going to execute some commands. For that, we are going to understand docker-compose.yaml file. Okay. So these are the concepts we are going to discuss as part of Apache Airflow installation. First, let's install Apache Airflow. Open any web browser. Then let's start downloading Docker desktop for Windows. Click on install Docker desktop for Windows. Here you can see Docker desktop for Windows x86 64-bit. Click on this one. Then click on start download. Let's wait a few minutes for downloading Docker desktop. It is 600 plus MB. Depends upon your internet speed. It will take few minutes time. Let's wait to download. Once the download is successful, we are going to install this Docker desktop. Okay. Once the Docker desktop is installed, then we are going to install a required image. Then we are going to configure that image with Apache Airflow. Installation is very, very easy. Let's wait completing download. We are going to see installation. Installation is very, very easy. We can use all default options. Almost download is completed. Let's wait to complete the download. Yeah, download is completed. Let's go to download location. Okay, let's open here, go to downloads, go to program files. Here you can see Docker desktop installer.exe. Double click on this file and choose all default options. Okay, choose all default options. Click on OK. It will open a pop-up window. Click on Yes button. Then it is started installing Docker desktop. Yeah, Docker desktop installation is successful. Click on close. You can see Docker desktop icon. Okay. So once Docker desktop icon is installed, then double click on this Docker desktop. Let's execute. Double click on this Docker desktop. It is going to start. Let's wait few seconds. Click on accept license agreement. Let's wait few seconds. So I started Docker desktop. Now let's create a workspace for this project. Create a workspace for this project. I have created one Airflow in C drive. This is my workspace, Airflow folder. In this, you need to add this Docker hyphen compose.yaml file. Okay. So I provided this Docker hyphen compose.yaml file. You can connect admin and you can ask him. He is going to provide this Docker hyphen compose.yaml file. Download this Docker hyphen compose.yaml. Here I'm giving, I want image with this Apache Airflow 2.9.1 software. That image should contain Airflow 2.9.1 software. Okay. Next one. Here I created a volumes. Volumes means directories in the Linux operating system. Okay. So what I said, I want to DAX folder in this location. Under OPT, create Airflow folder. In that folder, create a DAX folder. Okay. DAX folder. In my current working directory, I created one DAX folder. Whatever I am going to upload here, that DAX should be loaded in this location. So what I'm saying, this is my Docker. This is my Docker. In this Docker, I am asking Docker to create an image with the Linux operating system. In that Linux operating system, I am asking Docker to install Airflow 2.9.1. Okay. I am asking Docker to install Airflow 2.9.x. Okay. Then in this under OPT, I am asking a Docker create Airflow folder, create a DAX folder. Then if I deploy anything in my local Windows, Windows in tags folder. Move that files to this location. Move that file to in this location. This is an instruction I am adding. I am adding. First, I am creating volumes. Volumes means directories in this location. Under Airflow, create a lags. Under Airflow, create a config. Under Airflow, create a plugins. Under Airflow, create a scripts folder. I am giving this instruction to Docker. Next one. Next important configuration. Here, username for databases and other login is Airflow. Airflow is the username for all logins in my Docker image. Next one, these are main important one, and we are asking Airflow web server port number is 8080. Use 8080 to start a web server. Okay, so these are main important configuration parameters too. Okay, so this docker-compose.yml should be, you have to set up. Okay, first one, create a dags folder. Okay, create a logs folder, create a plugins folder in this workspace. I already created all those dags folder, logs folder, plugins folder, scripts folder also I created. So plugins, comma, scripts folder. Create all these folders. Then create one file called .env. Create one file called .env. In this .env file, provide two entries. Apache Airflow image name is Airflow 2.9.1 version. And Airflow UID, we are given 5000. We have to enter these properties in that env file. Okay. So download this docker.yaml file and place that docker.yaml file. Okay. Once this is completed, once Docker installation is successful, open command prompt here, place cursor here, type cmd, execute this command saying docker space ---- version to know Docker current version. Copy this one. Let's execute this one. You can see Docker version. Docker 29.5.3 was installed in my Windows. Next one, I want to create an image. So for that, first one, if there is any image already existed, to remove that image, you can execute this command. Docker-compose down. This one, if there any image already created, then it is going to remove that image from Docker. Just I'm executing. Currently, there are no images present. That's why it is not showing any process to remove that. Now, what I'm doing, I am trying to install image. Docker-compose space up space -d. Whenever you run this command in this location, it is going to read this docker-compose.yaml, then creates a Docker image based on the properties we mentioned in that image with all required softwares. With all required softwares, it is going to create an image. Let's wait to complete this process. It is installing Postgres 13, Apache Airflow 2.9.1. It is installing Redis in this image. Let's wait a few more minutes to complete this installation process. Let's wait few more minutes to. Almost completed. Let's wait few more seconds to. Yeah, it is successfully started Docker image. Go to Docker. You can see image is created. Airflow image is created. Okay. Next step, okay. We can access Airflow web UI using this URL http colon localhost space localhost colon 8080. Open any web browser. Open any web browser. Let's say I'm opening Google Chrome. Then enter this one localhost colon 8080. Let's wait a few seconds. Okay. It is going to start Docker. Okay. If it is not started, then we have to use uh, restart one. So we are going to use Docker compose restart command. Let's wait to check. It is going to start automatically. Yeah, it is started. Username is Airflow and password is Airflow. Press enter. We can see this is Docker web user interface web UI. Sorry, Apache Airflow. Apache Airflow web user interface. They given different DAGs for practice purpose, but we are going to use our own DAG. We are going to create our own DAG. We are going to schedule. We are going to schedule our own DAGs. We are going to define workflow using DAGs. We are going to schedule workflow using our own DAG setting. Okay, clear, right? How to install Apache Airflow with Docker Compose, how to access Apache Airflow, web user interface. Clear, right? Yeah. Let's continue. Okay. As part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering, in this session, we are going to discuss overview of Apache Airflow operators. First point, understand why operators, Airflow operators. Why Airflow operators? Okay. Let's say this is my server. In this server, I have Linux. Okay. In this server, I want to execute Linux commands. I want to execute Linux commands. This is the requirement. From where I want to execute these commands? From my Airflow. Airflow. Airflow I want to execute from Airflow. I want to execute Linux command. So here they provided bash operator, bash operator. So to execute Linux commands, they provided bash operator. Next one, I have another server. In this server, I want to run Python program. Run Python program. To run Python program, okay, we have Python operator. Python operator. So we can use Python operator to execute Python program. To execute what? Python program. Similar way, I have another server. In this server, I want to run Java program. Run Java program. So we have different operator. We have different operator. For every purpose, Airflow provides operator to run particular technology, programs, or statements, or commands. Okay. So similar way to run Snowflake SQL queries, we have Snowflake operator. Okay. So let me clear this one. So each operator performs one unit of work. Example, running a Python function, executing SQL query, triggering AWS Glue job, running bash commands, moving data between systems. For every purpose, we have different operators. So inside a Airflow DAG, we are going to use this operator to run particular technology, programs, or commands. Okay. So when you combine multiple operators in a DAG, you can create a data pipeline or workflow. Means I want to first execute to job 1. Next, I want to execute to job 2. Next, I want to execute to job 2. Inside a DAG, we are going to define sequence of jobs called workflow. This is one workflow. So to combine multiple operators in a DAG, you can create a data pipeline or workflow. Okay. Next one, to schedule this workflow, we can use cron kind of syntax to schedule this workflow. First, let's start understanding what are different operators are available. So first, action operator. Category, action operators. We have operators, Python operator to execute a Python function. Next one, bash operator to run bash or shell commands. Email operator to send an email notification. Simple HTTP operator to make REST request calls. Docker operator to run task inside a Docker container. Kubernetes pod operator runs a task inside a Kubernetes pod. Transfer operators. S3 to Redshift. Loading command we want to execute. Then we can use S3 to Redshift operator to load the data from S3 to Redshift. Next one, we have S3 to Snowflake operator, Redshift to S3 operator, S3 file transfer operator, Google Cloud Storage to BigQuery operator, and many things. You can observe, you can see multiple operators in our Apache Airflow team. Along with this one, if you not find any operator, you can install the operator. Okay, if you not find any operator for your requirement, we can install the operator. Okay. So how to know list of operators in Airflow? First, you can execute docker-es in our command line. Okay. In this, you can execute docker-es. You can see one web server name. So Airflow 2.9.1. Okay, you can see. So Airflow hyphen web server one. Okay, let's say this is our web server. So this is a web server. First, we have to execute this one. Docker underscore exe hyphen it Airflow hyphen web server hyphen bash one. It will give shell prompt for that web server. Okay. Let me copy this one. Docker space exe space it web server name, then bash. Okay. Execute this command. Once you enter in this location, you can execute this command to know the list of operators presented in our Airflow image. Okay, let's execute Airflow providers list. You can see list of providers. These are list of providers available. Okay, Samajan, Celery, Common IO, Common FNSQL, Dagger, Elasticsearch, Fab, FTP, Google, gRPC, Assycar, HTTP, IMP, Microsoft Azure, MySQL, ODBC, OpenLM, Postgres, Redis, SendGrid, SFTP, Slack, SMTP, Snowflake. For us, Snowflake is required because we are learning this Apache Airflow for Snowflake. This operator already available in our Apache Airflow image. Okay. So these are list of operators available. Okay. So we can open Airflow web UI using localhost colon 8080. Username is Airflow. Password is Airflow. Clear writing up to this part. What are different operators? What is the purpose of operators? How to know list of operators in Airflow? For us, we need Snowflake operator. We are least bother about other operators because we are going to work with Apache Airflow for Snowflake. We need a Snowflake operator. If operator is not available, we have to install. But this Snowflake operator already available. Apache Airflow providers Snowflake operator is available. Okay, clear, right? Yeah. Okay. Let's continue. Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering. In this, we are going to discuss one Apache Airflow tag example. In this, we are going to use 4 operators. Okay. In this, we use operators like dummy operator and Python operator and bash operator. 3 operators I am going to use in this Apache Airflow DAG example. Okay. First, let's create a Python file. Let's create a Python file. Let me take this Python file. First, ETL underscore DAG.py. Copy this one. Go to our DAGs location. Where is our DAGs? Under C drive, under Airflow. I said there is a folder called DAGs. We have to create this folder. While installation, I told this one. So we'll discuss this example later. Just to create another file, I opened this location. I am creating first underscore ETL underscore Airflow underscore DAG.py. Let's save this one. File name I'm putting in double quotes. So why I'm putting in double quotes is if you forgot to select save as a type equal to all files, Then whatever the type it is selected, it is going to add .py dot txt or other file format. So to avoid that confusion, I'm putting file name inside a double quotes. Now I am writing logic to call to use these operators. Okay. Let me take this example. Let's understand. First one, we have to import this DAG file. We have to import this DAG class, and then we have to import dummy operator, Python operator, and bash operator from this location because we are using these three operators. Next one, I'm importing date and time delta for scheduling purpose. I'm not applying any scheduling. Just I am using this uh, date and time. That's why I'm importing this one. Now start understanding this one. First, default arguments I'm defining. In this default arguments, I'm providing who is the owner for this tag and mainly email, retry delay. Okay. So these are some important one. This is optional, not mandatory. First, concentrate on these functions. Okay. These are functions. See, I created Python functions inside a Airflow, Airflow, Airflow. What I'm doing, this is my Airflow application, Airflow application. Inside this application, I am creating Python functions. Function 1, function 2, function 2, and function 3. Three definitions I am creating. First function name is extract underscore data. I'm just providing messaging, extracting data from source. That's it. Then finally, who calls this extract data function? I'm returning data extracted successfully. Another function, transform underscore data. I'm printing one message, transforming data, then data transformed successfully. Another function, load data. In this, I'm printing message. Then finally, I'm returning data load successfully message to the caller. Okay. So these three are Python functions. Okay. Instead of writing separate Python files, I am adding these Python functions inside Airflow application. Okay. Next one. I am adding DAG definition. First important one. Entire Airflow is defining a DAG. Entire Airflow is defining a DAG. First, I am giving ID. DAG ID, basic underscore, ETL underscore, Airflow underscore DAG. Or recommended is give this one. That's a you could give first underscore, first underscore, ETL underscore, Airflow underscore DAG. So whatever your file name, right? Recommended is DAG name is this one. You can take any name. Okay. Instead of confusion, while while here while here we are going to search our tag, right? Instead of confusion, take your file name is a DAG only name. Next one. Description is optional. In this description, we are going to provide what is the purpose of this tag. Okay. So here start date, I'm saying some date equal to 2024 1/1, but we are not using this one at this point of time. Okay, we are not doing this schedule interval daily. Okay, we just defined these properties. We are going to execute our DAG manually. Let's say click on this one. We are going to run DAG manually. Okay, trigger DAG. We are going to use this manual drag execution. So we are not going to wait for until particular time. Okay, next one. Next one. Here, this is DAG start, DAG block start. In Python, blocks start with colon. Then first I am using this dummy operator. First what I am doing, I am using this dummy operator. This dummy operator. So what I am doing, observe here, using dummy operator, first I am defining start job. So I am defining start job. Okay. End job. I am defining using dummy operator because there is no separate action required for start and end, right? So using dummy operator, I am starting two jobs, one start. Later I am going to show you end. Okay. Next one, I am using Python operator. Remember, just now we discussed operator can be used to execute corresponding technology related execution. Okay. So here I'm creating a Python job. What I'm calling extract data function I'm calling. So we just now created extract data, right? We are calling extract underscore data function using Python operator. Next one. Another Python operator we are calling transform data function. Next one. Another Python operator we are calling to load underscore data function. Next one. Using bash operator, what I'm doing, I am printing one message in a Linux console saying, so here what we are calling validate underscore load, but we are just printing a message on a console. We are not doing any activity. We are just printing message on a Linux machine. Okay. Next one. If you observe here, end operator using dummy. One job, second job, third job, okay, fourth job, and fifth job, and sixth job. End is sixth job. So defining flow. Start with the start job, extract job, then transform job, then load job, and then validate job, and then finally end job. We are defining how to execute jobs. Inside of that, we are saying start with the start, extract, transform, load, validate, and end. Okay, this is the definition. Let's clear the screen. Let's save this one. Where we put this job inside a DAG folder. But where is our Apache Airflow? Where is our Apache Airflow? Inside a Docker image. Yes, sir. What is the link between our local DAX folder with our local DAX folder with Docker image of Airflow? Did you remember? In previous session, I said we configured one parameter saying for every local file similar to that, we created corresponding folders. So if you save anything inside this DAX folder, automatically it uploads this one to DAX folder, this location, this location. Once it uploaded, we can see that inside DAX. So if you want to see any DAX, click on DAX. Okay. Here, what is our DAG name? Select your DAG name. We given ID, right? We given ID here. This is the ID. DAG definition. This is the DAG ID. We have to search with this DAG ID inside Airflow. You can see, click on this one. Whatever code you defined, click on the code. You can see same definition. You can see here. Same definition. Let me change here. Let me change for just understanding purpose too. Okay. Save this one. Save this one. We can refresh. You can see code is going to modify. Clear, right? Just for checking. If I already uploaded, you may think I may already uploaded DAG inside Airflow. That's why I'm able to see this code, right? So to clear that confusion, I modified here. Based on that, it is reflected into Airflow. Now let's refresh Control Z, then save this one. Again, you can refresh the code. You can see the latest modification. Yes, sir. Clear, right? So once you upload your code into this DAX folder, it automatically uploads into Docker image. Okay. So once it uploaded into Docker image, then it enters into Apache Airflow value. Okay. Clear, right? Now I want to run this one. So here you can see run button. Click on run button. Here you are going to see start is green button, extract started, extract green button, transform green button, load green button, validate green button, end green button. Now we can confirm the entire flow is green. Means status is success. Yeah. Let's continue. As part of Apache Airflow for Snowflake data engineering, in this session, we are going to discuss create Apache Airflow DAG to test Snowflake connection to it. I want to check my Snowflake is connecting through Apache Airflow or not. So first, what I'm going to do, I'm going to create a connection to Snowflake. So first, you need a Snowflake account to do. You need a Snowflake account. I already having Snowflake. Let me log into Snowflake. Then log in with the username and password. Everyone must have this Snowflake account with it. Then only we can create a connection between Airflow and Snowflake. So click on project, click on workspace. Then click on new SQL file. Then I'm giving SQL file name is, let's say, Airflow, then Snowflake. Okay. Later we are going to add queries here. Now my requirement is I want to create first connection. I want to test the connection between Airflow and Snowflake. So first we need to create a connection between Airflow and Snowflake. Go to your Airflow, go to admin, go to connections, go to connections. Here, search with your operator. Okay. Search operator. Let's say mm, I want to search no connection, right? Click on plus symbol. Then give a connection ID. Let's say I'm using connection ID. This connection ID I'm using Snowflake underscore connection. This is the connection name I'm using. Okay. Then select the connection type. Here you can select Snowflake. Click on Snowflake. Description is optional. If you want to do, you can give. This one is optional. Schema is important. Okay. So go to Airflow. Here I'm creating create database. Database name is Airflow. Create or replace database. Create or replace database. Database name is Airflow. Okay. Uh, Airflow underscore DB. Create or replace Airflow underscore DB. Okay. Let's create or replace schema. Schema. Airflow DB dot Airflow underscore schema. Airflow underscore schema. Then switch to this schema. Okay. Use Airflow underscore DB dot Airflow underscore schema. Press enter. Then use this schema name. Okay. Take this schema name. Use this schema name. So schema name is required. Next, login. Enter username. Akkem Sreenivas. Okay. Enter the password. Enter the password. Then enter account. Account name. Snowflake account name. Go to Snowflake. Okay. Here you can see your user details. Okay. Click on this user. Not here. Scroll down. Here you can see view account details. Okay. Account identifier is a account name. This is account name is account identifier. Warehouse name. You can see here warehouse name. You can copy from here. So warehouse name is compute underscore double h. Compute underscore double h. And database name is Airflow underscore DB is our database name. Remaining is optional. Remaining is optional. Then click on save. Click on save. Okay. So once you create a connection, then we are going to use that connection in our body. Let me create a example. Okay. Let's take this one. Let's create a new file. Let's create a new tab. In this new tab, what I'm doing, Control S. Also this one in this location. Observe what are we are writing here. So first I'm importing that. Then I'm importing Snowflake operator. Snowflake operator. Then here I'm creating a DAG definition. DAG ID is test underscore Snowflake connection. Then DAG definition. Here task ID is test connection. Then here connection ID is, this is the connection ID. We created connection ID, right? Okay. I am executing this select query. SQL query saying select the current version of Snowflake. Then this is a first task. I am saying execute this task. We have only one task. Okay. Save this one. Then take this tag ID name. Okay. Go to here. Go to Snowflake. Sorry. Go to tags. You can search this tag. Let's refresh. Let's refresh Airflow. Now let's execute this connection. Before that, let's check what is the name we used here. So tag ID is test underscore snowflake underscore connection. Test underscore snowflake underscore connection. Before that, let me check go to tags. Okay. So this is a Python file only. Test underscore snowflake underscore connection dot zero. Check. There is a space. Test underscore snowflake dot py. Okay. Then that tab definition snowflake operator, and this is task ID. This is tag ID, and this is task ID. Test underscore connection, and then we are calling this test portal. Okay, let's save this one. Let's refresh once again Airflow. Now type test. Okay. This still not updated. Very rare cases we can see this one. Let's refresh. Yeah, now we can see test underscore snowflake underscore connection. So go to the code. You can see the same code. Okay. Now let's click on trigger this one. Okay, it is started executing. One, not executed. Click on trigger. You can see it is going to connect. Okay. It is executed successfully. Okay. You can click on total success. So this is the total success file. Okay. Here you can see log URL. Click on log URL. Here you can see version, post task execution log, pre-task execution logs, select current version, executed. So this one is executed. Let's see post log. So this is the Snowflake connected version 3.10.2. Okay. So it is given output. So we can find the once you click on this one. So once you click on go to DAX, check the DAX, click on your DAX. Once you see this message, here you can see success or failure. If you click on fail, you can see why DAG is failed. Click on this one, then scroll at the end, you can see log URL. Here you can see output. It may be failure, it may be success. We can find that information in this log URL. Okay, clear, right?